Welcome to Seize the Mains by Raj Malhotra's IAS Academy. I'm Surbhi Sardana and this is season 3 of our daily answer writing initiative. This initiative runs in coordination with our website which is rajiasacademy.com. On our website, in the mains answer writing section, you can click and you will see a list of questions. You can choose to answer any of the questions and get it evaluated by our team entirely free of cost. So the topic for today is prison reforms. What are prison reforms and why are they in news? So the question was framed around one OTT series, Criminal Justice. It is quite old now, 2 to 3 years old, about which this question has been framed. But the status of prisons, the condition of prisons in India and how they can be improved, that is a hot topic. That is something UPSC has also asked time and again, and this has been again in news. So the question with regards to prison reforms is, the OTT series Criminal Justice brought to light the problem of Indian prisons and explained how an innocent waiting for court's verdict actually turns into a criminal inside the prison because the conditions are so bad. So examine the problem of high ratio of under trials in Indian prisons. So ये एक आपको angle दे दिया गया है अपने Indian prisons की जो problems हैं वो किस respect में किस challenge को basically आपने study करना है. So this is one side of the problems that are associated with Indian prisons. You have to talk about these. What reforms do you suggest to improve the state of Indian prisons? Answer in 250 words. So the second part is quite simple. Law Commission has given report. The Ministry of Home Affairs has come out with its statements and recommendations. So even if you type prison reforms in India on Google, you will see a list of recommendations by MHA, by Law Commission and other important ministers also, and by National Human Rights Commission also. So first of all, because the statement is given about how overcrowding of prisons is happening and how bad are the conditions in Indian prisons, so we will put a light on that. We will not write something with respect to this OTT series because it is just to create a relationship, just to emphasize one point. तो जिस point को वो emphasize कर रही है first line, हम उस point को उठा के उसके बारे में लिखेंगे. So as per the NCRB's 2021 statistics, make sure that you are writing about the latest statistics only. Whenever the next statistics are in news, if you are not writing mains this year, update your notes with regards to data. Data का आप separate sheet या separate notebook बना के रखिए and update that from time to time and use that data for cracking prelims and in answers of your mains examination. So as per NCRB's 2021 statistics, there were a total of 5,54,034 people in prisons across India as against a capacity of some like 4,25,000. So capacity से काफ़ी ज़्यादा है, that is occupancy ratio above 100%. So these statistics are from a variety of states. Mostly states में जो prison occupancy rate है, that is more than 100%. So the management and administration of prisons falls exclusively in the domain of the state governments and is governed by the Prisons Act 1894 and the prison manuals of the respective state governments. So here you've given the legal basis. आपने बता दिया है कि वो state list में आता है. Prison as a subject comes under state list. So with regards to that, we'll be writing the problems. What are the issues associated with it? So we are emphasizing on the first statement now to examine the status of under trials in India. So talking about that, why are under trials even present in our jails? कौन सी legal backing है? So under trial prisoners are detained under section 167 of the Criminal Procedure Code, which provides for procedure when investigation cannot be completed in 24 hours. So earlier what used to happen, if some investigation cannot happen in 24 hours, then you could detain a person inside a prison and that could happen for 15 days. 15 days was the maximum time limit, then it was extended to 90 days and now it is, for some cases, it can be extended to indefinite period also. So this is the reason many people who are suspect, who might not even be criminals or who have committed crimes which have a very low kind of punishment, 3 months, 6 months, because their cases are pending in courts, because they do not have enough money to hire advocates, hire lawyers. So they are facing jail terms because they do not have a way to get out of this. So they are basically under trials. This is a huge violation of the basic human rights of under trial prisoners who are already facing the issue of inadequate healthcare facilities. Obviously, occupancy rate is so high, so inadequate healthcare would be there. And torture by other rowdy prisoners. Moreover, it is a huge injustice to the families. See, if these people are married and they have dependent children sitting back at home, whose education, whose healthcare and just basic food needs depend on this particular person, she was the sole breadwinner of his or her family, then the entire family suffers because of this, because of under trials. For example, their children are denied a normal childhood, proper education, and are exploited by a cruel section of the society and are forced to take to the path of crime. So, in the linkage point, before moving on suggesting the reforms, first of all, you can expand this part, you can talk about the situation of under trials. You were asked to examine the situation of under trials. So, here we have given a brief picture of the under trials. We gave some data also in the introductory paragraph itself. So, now the examiner knows that the first 2 paragraphs are about examining the situation of under trials in India. Then you can give a small reason why is this happening. Prisons in India are neglected area, and many prisons in India are still functioning in the manner which they were made by the British, So Britishers' prime motive was to put politicians behind bars or to punish people who were fighting for independence of India, or according to them who were radical elements in the society. तो उनको terrorist करार दे दिया जाता था, या even if they were causing a rebellion. So these people mostly they were political prisoners, so they were put behind jails to be able to torture them, to be able to put them in a state that more people are not motivated to join the freedom movement. So that was the prime motive of jails or prisons in colonial times. But now we are an independent democracy. The role or the aim of prisons in India should be to reform people, not just to punish them, but to reform them in the long run. So that's a sad reality. This is the reason that most prisons in India continue to function the same way as they were functioning in the colonial times, and punishment is the bigger part of the picture. So there is a need for re-evaluation of our viewpoint of jails. This is very important here. The following reforms can be brought. So we have clubbed a few reforms which have been recently talked about by one of the important ministers, and MHA के Law Commission के जो भी reforms है, we've clubbed them here. You can add things from your side also, but this is the way your answers should be structured. So to decongest prisons, there should be an amendment in the Code of Criminal Procedure itself, which should provide for an under trial to be released on the basis of a bond, with or without sureties, if the under trial has spent at least half of the period of prescribed imprisonment in detention. So even if that under trial, somebody who's facing court proceedings, if he has faced, or she has spent half of the punishment time, even if that person is accused, if he or she is declared a criminal by the court, so probably his term of punishment would be 3 years. If she has been there in the prison for 1.5 years at least, then they should be released on the basis of a bond. So this should be the first thing. There is second case of open prisons also. It was open prisons worked on a pilot basis in Rajasthan. So you can read about open prisons where they go out in the day, they are employed somewhere, these under trials who are not blamed for very much bad criminal activities. बहुत ज़्यादा बुरे cases में जो लोग involved नहीं है, small cases, so they can work in the daytime, they can go out, and at night they have to report back to the jail authorities. So you can talk about open prisons here in the reforms, that yes, this thing can be worked upon. Then there is recently one of the ministers talked about model prison manual. See, now prison reforms or jails, they fall under the state list. So the central government cannot create a law, but they can create a model law, model act, a modern prison manual. How should prisons be regulated? So the central government came out with the model prison manual in 2016. A lot of reforms were brought in. For example, human rights was seen, the rehabilitation of prisoners in society, this was in focus. Rights of female prisoners was in focus. Laws for prison inspection and the right to education, even for people who have been convicted with death, even for death row convicts. So even they also had to be provided right to education. But sadly, only 11 states and union territories have followed this manual or have implemented this manual. So more states should be motivated or urged to adopt this. The third one is using technology inside jails. Whatever court proceedings are taking place, sometimes the court proceeding takes place at an entirely different location from where the jail is located, or from where the under trial has to be taken. So that involves a lot of expenses on the part of jail authorities, on the part of police. So video conferencing, delivering judgments through video conferencing by the use of latest technologies, that should be our prime focus. There is a need to make jails modern and technologically adapt with stringent security measures. First, because there are many criminals who are involved with big leaders. So they are sometimes killed inside the jail itself by the goons who are present inside the jails. So stringent security measures, and to introduce better living and health facilities, libraries, training programs for prisoners to help them get back to society, and initiatives to promote mental development. The suicide rate inside prisons has gone up to 27% as of now, which is very bad for a democracy like India, because the conditions of the prisons have to be improved. We cannot subject under trials to such conditions that they are forced to commit suicide. So by use of technology, by ensuring proper healthcare facilities, development of their mental status, that can be ensured. Also, all states should establish a welfare wing for under trials for all the prisoners who are there. And what should this welfare wing comprise of? Law officers, welfare officers, counselors. Counselors are very important, and probation officers under their respective prison departments. The next one is, at periodic intervals, combined training of prisons, police, health department and judiciary on under trial management should be done. The fifth point has already been discussed about delivering justice through video conferencing. The sixth point is about regular training of all the stakeholders which are involved, whether they are jail authorities, police, judiciary, or anyone who's involved in delivering justice or taking care of under trials. Also, there is a lot of radicalization that goes inside the jails So separate training module on de-radicalization of prisoners should also be conducted. The civil society can play a great role in this regard. There are many NGOs who actually visit prisons to look after the prisoners, or just look at the conditions in which they are operating. Also, there are a lot of vacancies when it comes to prison departments. So these vacancies should be filled speedily or expeditiously. And eighth one, it is a very soft step suggested by Ministry of Home Affairs, that this prisons department, it should be renamed, because name changes a lot of things. Name actually indicates your vision or what is the aim of a particular department. So prisons and correctional administration इसका नाम कर देना चाहिए. Prisons department should be renamed, rechristened to Prisons and Correctional Administration as recommended by MHA. And as per the changed nomenclature, it should have integrated prison, correctional and probation services. So that's all about the reforms that can be brought. In the conclusion, keep in mind the first line of your question. With respect to the first line of your question, you can say that almost 90% of people who are convicted, they return back to society. जितने भी लोग convict होते हैं उसमें से 90% they return back to society. So we cannot treat them in a inhumane form, because that is what they will replicate when they go back to their families, when they go back into the normal society. Rather, the role of our prison reforms or prison administration should be on reforming their character, not just punishing them. So hence, jail department is a major component of the nation's internal security. If reformation can be carried out inside the jails, well and good. Otherwise, it becomes very hard. So it is, and it should not be neglected. Punishment is necessary for society, very true. However, it is the responsibility of jail administration to ensure that jails become a medium for such people who are not born criminals or criminals by nature to get back to society. So this justifies your first line of the question. So this was your full answer. The entire answer has been uploaded on our website. Also, the question for tomorrow regarding digital lending is there on our website. Please go there, check this answer out. The link is there in the description, and answer the question number 58. If you're not confident enough, we'll have a discussion at 9 p.m. tomorrow. So you can join us, join our team for the answer writing discussion tomorrow. I'll see you tomorrow. Keep working hard and stay blessed.